Brilliant.
She's in Jim's band.
Oh, there you are. Right, coming up next we've got the fabulous Joanna Girdlestone. Have you got a new CD out by any chance, Joanna? Just by any of the slimmest one? Oh well, how's about that for a coincidence? Have you got any with you? That's all? Would you be able to perhaps mention a website where they can buy it, where the good people, after they've heard you?
Jacqueline's just come back from Jamaica. So she's just had a week's tune-in with everybody.
See how modest she is. This is the kind of girl she is. And terrific singer-songwriter. Joanna Girdlestone, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Sorry, just cheer out.
That's all right. Hello everybody. It's really lovely to be here. Our second, some of us have already seen each other once this week at Folk Mob, remembering Jim, and it's lovely, really lovely to be part of it. We do miss him terribly, and yeah. So I was thinking, what will I start with? And I'm going to sing a contemporary folk song that I've written. It's about the sea. It's about a sailor and his girlfriend having a brief rendezvous at a place called Dancing Ledge, which, if anyone has ever been down to the Purbeck coastline in Dorset, there's a bit of coastline that juts out into the sea, and it's said that sailors return and dance with their girlfriends on the ledge. So I sort of invented a bit of a story around that. And actually, there was one night at Folk Mob when this song was in its infancy, it must have been about 3 years ago, and Jim had his Irish drum with him. I'm never confident to pronounce it. Baron? Anyway, he did join me for this one, so I hope he'd approve. Anyway, here it is, Dancing Ledge. My love met me on Dancing Ledge, along the cliffs and sands. He said, let's dance the whole night long, my one night on the land. All too soon our time will pass, and dancing ghosts will be. Then a ring he slipped onto my finger, saying, marry me. Time stood still with love in the air, and my heart, it must have taken flight with the seabirds circling there. I know life is short and everything is temporary, but this ring circling my finger says he's staying with me. His shoulder was my pillow, and our feet were light as air. Our hearts kept time together, and we danced the whole night there. We might as well dance, we might as well sing, we might as well live for the time being. We might as well dance, we might as well sing, we might as well love for the time being. We danced all night by the pounding waves, by the moonlight in the salty spray. Come what might, come what may, we danced all night and into the day. At the breaking of the dawn, the spell was broken too. He looked into my eyes and said, "My love, I'll dream of you. A sailor must to sea." He kissed me tenderly, and from the port in the morning light, he sailed away from me. Did I dream you, my love? Did I dream you? Only the sky above and the sea knew. Nothing borrowed, nothing blue, nothing old and nothing new. Just this ring circling my finger, tying me to you. Where else am I to go? The waves are pounding and the spray jumps up. My love, where did you go? I see us in the mist, dancing on air. A sailor's wife, there's a life of longing and despair. I dance before the sea, and I sing for the sky above. My heart cries out my love. I have to be free, darling, forgive me. I've taken this ring from my finger, and I'm slipping it back into the sea. Very much. Right, I love songs that are written for people, and I really, really love hearing Ellen sing that song for Jim. It just gets me every time. This is also a song set on the coast in Westgate, actually, Sue, and I think that's where you're from, isn't it? My grandma used to live in Westgate down on the Kent coast, and she was a very important person in my life. And I'd like to invite you into her kitchen with me as I sing you this song. It's called Slow Cooking. My grandmother's kitchen was a temple by the sea. Like a holy woman, she followed the practice of slow cookery. My grandmother's kitchen was a heart beating like a drum in the middle of my life. Somewhere far beyond the humdrum, I can see her through the open window, working in the steam to the rhythm of her slow cooking. I never saw no recipe, it was more like alchemy. And the seagulls cry and the waves hit the shore. She took her salt from the air. She took her time and she put her care into everything that she ever cooked up in there. She was cooking up soul food, My grandmother's kitchen was a temple by the sea. Ooh, the aromas, the mysterious flavors captivated me. And the taste of the time and the care was in everything that she ever cooked up in there. I never saw no recipe. It was more like alchemy. In my grandmother's kitchen, in my grandmother's kitchen, in my grandmother's kitchen. Oh, I've been teaching preschoolers today, and my voice is feeling. There's not so much. There's not so much left in his vocal cords, but I've got one more for you. This is called Kingfisher, and I sang this on Wednesday night for Jim. It just feels like the obvious one to sing for him because I suppose I wrote it after an encounter on a river in France with this very territorial bird that flew over my head when I was in a canoe, which has nothing to do with Jim whatsoever, but the light that this bird left, like a sort of vapour trail, the optical illusion of a sort of vapour trail, which of course was just the bird flying at speed down the river, letting me know that I was on its patch. But the light stayed with me, and I think that's kind of what I want to say about Jim, really, is that we all knew him and loved him, and his light was so bright, and it stays burning bright in us that knew him. Weren't we lucky to know him? So this is called Kingfisher. Kingfisher, Kingfisher, when I was a fish on your blue electric line, I never felt so fine. I was drowning, you caught me just in time. I caught you too, with a camera in my eyes. I keep a picture of you breaking the sky with your neon sign, with your blue electric line. You make the hole and you rip open the sky. You dive into my eyes, and your colours coincide with mine, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine. The sky's in the river, the river's in the sky. You are me and I am you. I keep singing that until it's true. You are me and I am Kingfisher too. Doors open, fly open, when you're least expecting them to. Out of the blue, I'm under your painted wing. Into the blue, I've got you under my skin. It's an it's true, you are me and I am Kingfisher too. I see your light after it's gone, I still see it shining on. The sky is a river and the river's in the sky. You are me and I am you, I keep singing that until it's true. You are me and I am you, you are me and I am you, you are me and I am you. You are me and I am you, Kingfisher too. You took something from me when you traveled through. You left something of you. Kingfisher blue. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Joanna Girdlestone, of course. Was that super? Singer-songwriter. Do look her up on her website, and she's got wonderful CDs to buy. You can have her in the comfort of your own home. Fantastic. Whenever I hear that the slow cooking song, we were part of it was part of the same singer-songwriter challenge, and we all had to write songs about food and cooking and stuff. And I thought, oh, I know, slow cooking. Blow me next week. I bumped into Joanna Girdlestone and said, I'm working on this song here, slow cooking. I had another one, slow down, slow down. We're on the same CD there, it's a compilation album. Okay, we now have John and Deirdre Holyoke, who, I would say no more, but they play everything from Latin American to Elton folk.
Jim, what a great guy he was. But let's not be too reverential. He could be a cheeky bugger too. A couple of years ago, I went to Folk Mob where he was a regular. I hadn't been there for about 6 months, which was quite unusual. And after a lull in the hostilities, I found myself standing next to him in the toilet, and he said, "Oh, it's good to see you here." He said, "We worry about you old ones when you don't turn up."
Well, it's like, yeah.
Sauve, oh holiday, she dressed herself in man's array, with a sword and pistol by her side, to meet her true love, to meet her true love, awaited bride. As she was riding over the plain, she met her true love, and bid him stand. Your gold and silver comes, as she said, or else this moment your love I'll have. When she had robbed him of his store, she said, "Kind sir, there is one thing more, a golden ring which I know you have. to say. That golden ring a token is, my life I'll lose, the ring I'll save. Being tender-hearted just like a dove, she rode away from her true love. Next morning in the garden green, just like true lovers they were seen. He spied his watch hanging from her clothes, which made him blush like any rose. What makes you blush at so silly a thing? I thought to have had your golden ring. It was I who robbed you all on the way. So here's your watch and your golden ring. I did intend, and it was to know if that you were my true love or no. For if you had given me that ring, she said, I'd have pulled the trigger and shot you dead.
And now I can call upon the services of Keith. This next song is one that sort of sprung to mind. Once again, a couple of years ago at Folkmore, Jim was talking about some singer who we just lost. I can't remember who it was, but he said that the best way to remember them was to sing a song that they were known for singing. And at the time when he said that, I thought, I know the one of yours I'm going to sing. And it's a chorus song. It's actually a sort of shanty style. It's not actually a shanty. It was written by Cyril Tormey, and it has a response. And you've got to sing it. We will have the assistance of these people. I will do the shouty bit, and they will respond. And the words, yes, it's set in Malta, this song. The response lines are, hey, the last boats are leaving, and call away the Daiso. Now, a Daiso is a water taxi which was once used by Keith. Because he is a frequent flyer to Malta. Sometimes he gets involved in large ecclesiastical events, but that's another story entirely. Okay, so this song's called Sammy's Bar. And I need to know the key and sense, so I need to play a sequel. I went down to Sammy's Bar.
Hey, last
at the shore by Pieta. Call away the Daiso. And my true love, she was there.
Hey, last
she had sand all in her hair. Call away the Daiso. How did sand get in your hair? Darling Johnny put it there. Being with Johnny all the day. Down at Gansu Bay. He's the better man, my father. Cause he's got a Yankee car. I went out from Sammy's bar. Gotta get a Yankee car. days I drank no wine. Saving for that love of mine. Then one day in Paulus Square, had a paper I did spare. Johnny tried a hairpin bend. For my love, it was the end. Going back to Sammy's bar. I don't need no Yankee car. There you go.
Oh, there you are. All right. Okay. Oh. That was John and Deirdre Hollingham. Fabulous. There you go. Here, a real good old friend of Jim's. Come all the way from far-flung. Probably. All the way from far-flung, probably. With his mighty 12-string, I might point out. And my guitar strap.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. It's a bit short, but I'll live with it. All right.
Okay, Paul Moody, thank you.
I wouldn't clap yet, you haven't heard it. All right. I've got a loud voice, so I'll stand back a bit, I think. It's wonderful to hear that last tune, because one of the things I learned from Jim, and I learned a lot of things from Jim over the years, was that people need to sing together. So I would like you all to help me with singing of this song, which has actually never been sung before in public. So if you could do that, I'd be grateful. And I'll try and get the chorus for you. So the chorus is very simple, if you know Jim, which I'm sure we all did. The chorus is based on Crossing the Bar, yeah, which he used to sing a lot. So how's it go? I shouldn't forget my own song, should I? I wrote this in his house where I was living after he passed away for a while. So the chorus goes, in your life's long song, in your life's long song, you helped us all. See, I forgot it. You helped us all so much to sing along in your life's long song. Can you try it with me one time? In your life's long song, in your life's long song, you helped us all so much to sing along in your life's long song. I don't need to sing it myself, that's great, you can sing it yourself. Okay. 19 years I knew you. It was nowhere near enough. I believed you'd make your century, that you'd sail right on through the rough, but the virus, it was stronger, and it gripped you day by day, until you breathed no longer, and then it took you all away. memory lives on strong in your children, friends, and loved ones, in your last long song. Sing it with me. In your last long song,
Your last long song.
you helped us all so much to sing along. In your last
Long song.
There's an empty space at Folk Mart, down at the farmers, and in our hearts there's an ache that alcohol won't break. But there's no way to fake this being apart. But we'll carry you wherever people struggle to be free. We're all those who went before you, who helped us know how best to be. In your last long song, in your last long song, you helped us all so much to sing along. In your last long song, speaking truth to power, helping people to be free, organizing homes and shelter, demonstrating how things ought to be. I remember love and kindness, and how you lived just like you should. But whenever we would sing together, I just remember feeling good. In your last long song, in your last long song, you helped us all so much to sing along. In your last long song. What a great bunch of singers. Now you finally crossed the bar, and the sea will take you back. We're all proud of how you sailed so far, skilled enough to change your tack. In that great voice we loved so well, there'll be no more carrying Nelson home. But we'll feel you in the deep sea swell, when ships plow through the ocean. Come on. In your last long song, in your last long song, you helped us all so much to sing along. In your last long song. Yeah, last time. In your last long song, in your last long song, you helped us all so much to sing along. In your last long song. Thank you. There's a tradition in our family when we see people off, you know, for their last trip, wherever that might be to, that going out, it's a sad song, and coming back from wherever we've been, it's a jig or a reel or something, you know. So this one, I think you'll all know the chorus to. This is something I used to love singing with Jim. Fits with his atheist beliefs as well, which I kind of like. Oh, you can't get to heaven on roller skates. Oh, you can't get to heaven on roller skates. Oh, no, you can't get to heaven on roller skates, 'cause you roll right past those pearly gates. Ain't gonna grieve with my Lord. No. Sing, come on and grieve my life. Ain't gonna grieve my life. Ain't gonna grieve. To heaven in a rocking chair. Oh, you can't get to heaven on a rocking chair. Oh, no, you can't get to heaven on a rocking chair, 'cause a rocking chair won't go nowhere. Ain't gonna grieve my Lord no more. Come on, sing. I ain't gonna grieve my Lord. Ain't gonna grieve my Lord. Ain't gonna grieve my Lord no more.
My Lord no more. Ain't gonna grieve. Ain't gonna grieve my Lord no more. Ain't gonna grieve my Lord no more.
Oh, you can't get to heaven in a limousine.
Oh, you can't get ahead in a limousine. Oh, you can't get to heaven in a limousine. No, Lord, no, no, gasoline.
Gonna grieve my Lord no more. I ain't gonna grieve my Lord. Ain't gonna grieve my Lord no more. Ain't gonna grieve my Lord no more.
Ain't gonna grieve my Lord no more.
Ain't gonna
Grieve my Lord no more.
Ain't gonna grieve
my Lord no more.
if you get there before I do. If you get there before I do. Well, if you get there before I do, just tell my friend I'm coming to. Ain't gonna grieve my Lord no more. Last time. Ain't gonna grieve my Lord. Ain't gonna grieve my Lord. Ain't gonna grieve my Lord no more. Ain't gonna grieve my Lord no more. Ain't gonna grieve my Lord. Ain't gonna grieve.
My Lord no more.
Thank you. Well, that was good. Paul Moody now, all the way from Sunny Brockley, all the way from Sheffield, all the way from Hull, Radford. Here's Jim's son, Steve. He's going to say, you know.
I'll be brief. This one? Alright, well, only a couple of things to say. That was wonderful, Paul. As those of you knew Jim and where he lived, we had 3 Pauls. So we have to give him, that's Geordie Paul. He lived next door to Asian Paul. And they both lived next to Welsh Paul. And they've been very good friends to Jim over the years. Very pleased to see Geordie Paul here tonight, Paul Moody. Okay, Jim, as you all know, was mainly associated with sea songs and nautical maritime music, but he also had a very wide repertoire of English, Irish, Welsh, Scottish, and a few Australian numbers, American numbers as well. You've all heard him sing, I'm sure, Joe Hill. And he did not go along with the rather, what he termed, rather tyrannical view, or puritanical view of folk music and folk singers that Ewan MacColl espoused. Jim had a great respect for Ewan MacColl, who he knew, and occasionally sang with once or twice, I think, in the early 60s. But they were very different characters, and I think their relationship was slightly contentious. There's a very funny story about that related to an event almost exactly 59 years ago, which I won't tell now because time doesn't allow it. Alright, I'll be brave. This is a little anecdote. In 1962, Ewan MacColl lived quite near to us. Ewan MacColl and Peggy Seeger lived quite near to us in South East London. Well, we were actually in Kent in those days, technically, just like Plaistow was in Essex. So in Beckenham, where we lived in the South East London suburbs, Ewan MacColl was not just a well-known folk singer, he was also the sort of doyen or leading light in the local Communist Party. Both as an intellectual and an entertainer and some political philosopher. Jim knew him musically and politically, although their politics were quite different in some ways. And some of you are old enough to remember this yourselves as adults. I was a small child at the time. But in October 1962, a great many people thought we were about to be blown to kingdom come. A few people that we knew actually went off to live on the west coast of Ireland for a while. Thought they'd be a bit safer there. But I was too young to pick up. But I did just about pick up on the atmosphere of fear that a lot of our parents, friends felt. And anyway, there was a point in the crisis where it was widely expected that it would come to a head the very next day. And Jim, who was a South East London sort of a coordinator for CND actions, was asked to get as many people as possible into Trafalgar Square for a midnight vigil, which he did, rousing people around South East London. And he went to see Ewan McCall, who, as I say, lived quite close to us. And he said to him, and Peggy Seeger, who was also there, he said, Ewan, you've got to get your comrades, your party comrades, to come and turn up. This could be our last ever political event. You know. It really was that, you know. And Ewan McCall replied, so I'd love to, Jim, but unfortunately the party has a Shakespeare recital on. The end of the world notwithstanding, the Communist Party is associated with culture. I know Ewan, of course, was a Scotsman, but he still wanted to celebrate the English bard, gave that priority over the vigil, which might be the last thing that any of them ever did. Anyway, so Jim had a wide repertoire. And he sang a lot of songs and wrote a few. He was very fond of a lot of the numbers that have been heard tonight. Call Away the Dice, or Sammy's Bar, as the song is usually known, was a particular favourite of Jim's. He, of course, had spent quite a lot of time in Malta, and some of those of you who've read Jim's anecdotes or heard him say them will remember his story of a swim around the Grand Harbour in Valletta looking for his ship because he'd missed the last ISO, which is the water taxis. I think he was, and missed the last Liberty boat to take him back. A few years ago, I went with Jim to Normandy, and Jim was an anti-militarist, as you all know. But he did take advantage of these free trips offered by the British Legion to and he went round and had a good time. And we were in a hotel restaurant, I think, in Normandy. And there's a lot of East London, from East London and Romford, British Legion there. And they're all sort of elderly East London white boys. And one of the organisers there said, so why don't you give us a song, Dad? A good East End Cockney knees up. And strange enough, these elderly East End Cockney lads didn't seem to know any. So Jim got up. He was a Yorkshireman, as you all know, so he didn't try and do the Cockney accent, but he gave them, all my life I wanted to be a barra boy, wanted to be, and now I've got me ticket. I pushes me barra with pride. I'm a Costa from over the other side. And so he went on, and he sang for him. So Jim would sing music and songs from almost any genre, language. He did occasionally try his hand at Spanish. Sylvia here never managed to teach him any Spanish, but he did try to sing Guantanamo with the Spanish verses a couple of times. Guantanamera is a song about the place. So he had a very wide selection, and he appreciated the music and culture of all the people and all the areas and countries that he came across. But his music wasn't his only passion. It wasn't his main passion at all. He got more into it as he got older. But his most consistent activism was in the peace movement. The little potted biography that some of you have got, there's a few copies around, tells how in the Second World War, before he went to sea, when he was still at school, it was actually art college right at the end, I think doing graphic artist training, but he ran around the whole with the Young Communist League, putting up posters and daubing walls and slogans for the Second Front now. And the Morning Star, you may have seen it, grabbed hold of this, he was a communist, and they also found an interview where he said this to an interviewer, and they wrote, Jim Radford, communist. Well, Jim was a progressive and a socialist. He was never a member of the YCL or the Communist Party. I was a member of both, but he was not. But he didn't mind that. He was prepared. He was quite happy to be associated with. And that was probably his introduction to political activism, campaigning for a second front. He had no idea when he did that he would actually be part of that. And of course, as you know, on D-Day 1944, Jim was the youngest participant. His elder brother Fred was on another tug building the same Mulberry Harbour under the Royal Naval, White Ensign. The youngest petty officer of the Royal Navy, we believe. Their elder brother Jack had been lost at sea 4 years earlier. We think he was almost certainly the youngest merchant navy officer killed by enemy action in the war, just a week or two after his 18th birthday. So the three brothers from Hull all set records in their own way. But Jim's consistent anti-war activism, anti-militarism, was the theme throughout his life. And he, you can find it on YouTube actually. He gave a speech, well, he said this a number of times, but he gave a particular speech to an American audience in, I believe, Los Angeles, when he was attending the conference on behalf of Veterans for Peace a few years ago. And he explained then that he dawned on him, and this would have been many years before, it dawned on him in about 1952, probably, when he came back from the West India station, where he was for a while, on the Superb. And he was a radar plotter, that was his speciality in the Navy. And he was taken on the British battleship, the Vanguard, the last battleship built by Britain, or I think probably any European power. And the Vanguard never saw action because it was finished too late to fight in the Second World War, like the two Yankee battleships that were laid down at the same time. But it was still the most powerful warship, in theory. Aircraft carriers were probably more important, but in theory it was the most powerful warship, had the most modern, up-to-date armament system. And Jim was taken on it in 1952, I think, to look at and be trained on this, what they call stag mounting radar gunnery systems. And this was radar systems that could train a gun, fire a 16-inch shell, 1 ton of high explosive shell over the horizon, and hit a target and kill people that could not be seen. They might be 30 miles away. But you could fire a ton of explosive with these radar guidance systems and kill people over the horizon that you couldn't see. And Jim was he was supposed to be trained on how to operate this system, but he was horrified by this. And he said many years later in this interview and other occasions that if mankind was so brilliant, had these geniuses and boffins, they could put their minds and develop such incredible systems to kill people you couldn't even see over the horizon with a bloody great big gun and radar systems. Why the hell couldn't they put that ingenuity into finding cures for disease, into feeding people, into avoiding the need for killing people? And that was the motivation for much of his activity. I mean, he said that he concentrated on domestic things like housing, like squatting campaigns, like building community resources for people in this country, because he happened to live in this country. But he never forgot the international commitments. And some of the most spectacular actions he was involved in included the actions against the Vietnam War in this country. But not just that, I can remember as a child being taken to demonstrations outside the Greek embassy when the colonels took over in '67, I think. And we played Mickey's Theodorakis music at full volume from portable loudspeakers, which really got the nose of the Greek ambassador, because Mickey's Theodorakis had been banged as an anti-patriotic element by the dictatorship in Greece. And we played his music loud. And also did something which nowadays would be called terrorism, which was set off fireworks in the flower pots of the embassy. A bit like those performances of the 1812 overture where they fire cannons at various points. So these firework bangers and flashes went off that had been set by the demonstrators. If you did that now, you'd be rushed off and spend the next 6 years in Belmarsh. as terrorists. But those things, and also about the same time, maybe a year earlier, going to Tilbury and trying to persuade the dockers there not to load ships with artillery and armoured cars and ammunition bound for Nigeria, where the most disgusting civil war involving deliberate starvation of millions of people was taking place, and the British government was arming the Nigerian government in order that they could do this. So Jim was involved in all those things. And in his latter years, he was involved in I think, well, was active members of South East London Ex-Services CND. But as that organisation waned, basically as the generation of fellows that fought in the Second World War disappeared, as old men tend to do, as the song says, that organisation was effectively replaced, or the mantle passed on to Veterans for Peace. And that is the organisation that Jim was actively involved in for the last several years, and that is the organisation that he's hopefully going to benefit from the proceeds of tonight. If there's anything left after the contents have been paid, but I'm sure there shall be. So, Veterans for Peace, who will be holding an event, I believe, tomorrow in Margate. If anyone's in the area, the Veterans for Peace is most of course, are veterans of more recent conflicts than the Second World War now, Afghanistan, Iraq, and other places. But that is an organisation that Jim was entirely committed to supporting, because they embodied his idea that you don't have to be a pacifist. Jim was in favour of self-defence, was very good at it, unbeaten in the Inter-Forces Boxing League in the early 50s. So Jim was fully in favour of self-defence, political self-defence, and if necessary, physical self-defence. He was proud to have played a part in the war against fascism. He did not like the militaristic side, but he would wear his medals with some pride and tell people, sometimes disbelieve, that he earned all his war medals before his 16th birthday. Which was true, of course, all the campaign medals. So that was what Jim believed in, and I think whether you agree with all those objectives or not, I think you can all agree that he made a significant contribution towards that, one that will be remembered. So for his political activism and his cultural involvement and his promotion of popular music, and not necessarily popular in the sense it's the most popular, but it's from the people, which is the real meaning of popular. It's from the people, not produced by some factory somewhere and fed to you like manufactured culture. It's something that's genuine. So thank you all very much for coming. Thank you for the artists who've already sung, played. And for those who are going to, thank you very much. The family, 3 generations of Jim's family are here. I've no doubt that we shall see you all again, because although none of us live in London, we're spread around in East Yorkshire, South Yorkshire, Sussex, and Australia, of course. But we will be down visiting as regularly as we can, and I've no doubt we shall see many of you again in the future. So thank you very much for coming.
There you go. That's the real man. As told by his son, Steve. Fantastic. Incidentally, all of the ticket money is going to Veterans for Peace. A few years back, we were in a pub, and he leaned across and he said, "I need a song, an anti-war song. It's easy to learn and can be sung a cappella without accompaniment." I said, "What's it for?" He said, "Oh, in about 2 weeks' time, Veterans for Peace are going to be at the Cenotaph."
Ready, Noah?
and I was able to come up with, oh, this song. And it's the very one. So because he used to sing it long ago. And the Veterans for Peace all sang this at the Cenotaph. And I was up there and I saw them. I thought, wow, it's a little contribution. If you know it, please join in. Veterans for Peace and for children. Where have all the flowers come? Long time has seen. Where have all the flowers come? Long time ago. Where have all the flowers come? Gone to young girl, everyone. When will they ever learn? When will they ever learn? Lovely. Where have all the young girls gone? Long time passing. Where have all the young girls gone? Long time ago. Where have all the young girls gone? Run to young men, everyone. When will they ever learn? When will they ever learn? Sounding good. Where have all the young men gone? Long time passing. Where have all the young men gone? Long time ago. Where have all the young men gone? Country soldiers, everyone. When will they ever learn? When will they ever learn? Where have all the soldiers gone?